resume recording. We are live now. So welcome to the 5 Days of You Challenge. Congratulations on taking the opportunity to get involved in this because we want to help you this week to maybe level up your game just a little bit. A couple of things before we get rolling here. I want you to check your email because I sent you an email out this morning. I think the title of it was 5 Days of You, woohoo. And in that, it's got, and this is what it looks like, so you can kind of see it. Well, with this background, you can't really see it, but with this week's schedule on it, and it's got a link in there to join our private Facebook group for this challenge, because with that, you will get a 24-hour video access. You'll also get the worksheets, and then later in the week, you'll get a copy of the ebook that we have for you, A New Year, New You. And then also available to you, certainly do not have to do this, but there's a $27 upgrade for lifetime access to these videos and everything if you want to keep that, because again, in the Facebook group, it's only going to be up for 24 hours. But the link over there is there for you to join the Facebook group if you didn't get the email, and also a link there for the 5-day to get the lifetime access. Now today, there really is no need to take notes unless you just want to. Because the video is going to be rendered and put up in the Facebook group here by this afternoon, and it'll be up for 24 hours. So you can go in there and do another pass of it, and then we're going to have the worksheets in there for you to go with it. So and the kind of way that we work here at A to B for me, whether we're reading or whether we're watching something, is we do one pass just to take it in. We do a second pass to learn it. And then we do a third. The third option there is to get out the worksheet and implement it, because we don't want you just to watch something and then never use it. So we want you to learn it and implement it. So those are the 3 steps for this week for you. And then the major step for this week is just to have fun and participate either in a live or in the Facebook group. Or both, and reach out to us with any questions. Now, we're going to crescendo as the week goes on. I don't like to start out and have a big old 2-hour session and blow everybody out. So we're starting easy. You see, the whole content for this week's only 2.5 hours. So we don't want to overload you. But we're going to start out with 15 or 20 minutes today, 15 or 20 minutes tomorrow, depending on if you have any questions or not. And then on Wednesday, we'll step it up a notch a little bit, 30, maybe 40 minutes. And then the big day is really on Thursday when we go over goals and mission. And that'll be about 40, 45 minutes. And then Friday, we'll wrap it up with about another 35 or 40 minutes. Just so you'll know for your time frames, I'm kind of a get in here, get it done, and get out of here kind of guy. So we'll have a few stories, but I'm not here to tell you my life story. We're here to help you this week. So we're going to get rolling. So the first thing we're going to be doing, obviously, this week is finding your who. Now, this whole series this week, there's different levels of coming into the program, and this is really just a level 1 program this week. But it could be that you're already at level 5 or level 6 in one area, one goal area in your life, but maybe you're back to level 1 on another area. We talk about different areas in our programs. So we're going to talk about finding your who, and that might just be in one particular area that you've got, whether it's in your financial, your career, your relationships, or whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, whatever it is. You have these different areas where you're going to be at different levels, but so it's just going to be a basic program this week, just to kind of get you rolling here and thinking again. And it's also good just to come back and do this like every year. I reset my clock about every 12 weeks. I kind of figure out who I am every 12 weeks because I work on a 12-week year. We'll talk about that a little later. But the worksheet you're going to have in the Facebook group is called Set Yourself Free by Being Yourself, and really is 8 points. And we're going to be going through that some this week. But I want to set the tone for the week with one of my favorite quotes by C.S. Lewis, and it's you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Because we've all had starts and stops in our life, and we've all had things that we don't want to look back on, but we don't want those things to continue to mess with us and slow us down. This is just my favorite mantra. I've picked it up, and but you just have to look forward. So what we're going to do this week is worry about changing the ending. So let's pick it up from here, and let's get rolling and get things rolling in the right direction for you. And what's going to start out with is authenticity, and because authenticity is really underrated. We have, and I tell you, in the world today, I think there's enough people who aren't authentic. We don't need any more. I like to work with people, and I associate with people who are authentic, and because it's very underrated. But it really is more than being honest with the world. It's about being honest with yourself, and I think that's where a lot of people get caught up. It's just trying to be someone that they're not. But there's so many advantages to being authentic. But most importantly, you'll no longer feel the need to change your words and actions to impress other people. Just be yourself. I mean, so many times you're in these situations and your stomach's all in knots and you're just frazzled and just worried about something, and just don't worry about it. Just be you. If they don't like you, find somebody else that well. There's people out there that you're supposed to be with. So don't feel the need to alter your words or actions or any of this stuff to impress other people. I know when I first got off into this business and working with audio and video and all this kind of stuff, I was like, oh man, I got to have this $1,000 program, and I got to have this $1,500 camera, and I got to have all this. Just be yourself. That's what people want. That's the people I want to work with. Is people who just take me like I am. I'm an old Texas boy stuck here in Virginia, so you like me, you don't like me, but hopefully do want to get you going. But the main thing is you just want to relax and be yourself, because that's when you're your finest. That's who God intended you to be, was you. So get out there and celebrate your you-ness, and don't try and be something that you're not. Now the key is, before you can be authentic, it's important you have to know yourself. And sometimes in life we get so caught up in these roles that we're in that we don't really even know ourselves anymore. You look in the mirror and you go, who in the heck are you? Right? So I mean, you may come out of a meeting or something, and you said things and you did things, and then you get in the car and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. That's not me. But we get into that because we're just trying to just be something else. But all of this authenticity, it includes your values and your goals, and that's really what we're going to talk about a lot this week. Are your core values and what your goals are. And again, your goals are going to be different for different areas. We're just not talking about money. When people think about success, all they seem to think about is money, and I think money is really important. I have a love affair with money. I want to be around because the more I got, the more I can help people. I think the money ought to go to the great people and not to the bad people. So let's just get it for ourselves and do some good with it. But authenticity becomes possible when you know what's important to you, and that's why we want to look at your core values. What do you want in your life? Who are you? Who do you want to help? What do you want to be? And what kind of legacy do you want to leave? So that's what we're going to be talking about this week. But in order to embrace authenticity and present yourself honestly, you've got to do really 8 basic things. And the first one is you got to give up the need to appear perfect. Excellent is good enough, right? Excellent. I'm not sure I'm at excellence yet, but that's okay. We're working to get there. But just give up the need to be perfect. I mean, we do all this stuff, and it's just, I don't know why we do it, but we just do. We're just born with it. Some of us are more vain than others, and I think with age comes less vainness, hopefully. But excellent is good enough. But when you don't need to appear perfect, that's when you're in a position to be honest. When I'm on these retreats and stuff with folks, and we do something at a beach or something, and I come across someone, and they don't have their makeup and their hair's not done, and we're frazzled, and we got salt from the beach all over us and everything, and that's when we can really just sit down and have a talk, right? Because I know who I'm talking to then. So you don't need to just appear perfect all the time. Just be yourself, and that's when you're really in a position to be honest. And no one can be perfect and honest at the same time. That really, because you're so guarded when you're trying to be perfect that you're not letting people in to who you really are. And people want to know you. They don't want to know what you think we want you we want to know you. Avoid putting on a show, for the rest of the world. That's just not. Uh, that's not what we're here for. Because the bottom line is, you're only going to feel bad about yourself later. Like I said, you come away from that event, you come away from that meeting, you come away from that date or that relationship, and you're just feeling bad because you said, man, I messed that up because I was trying to be something I wasn't, and that's not what we needed in that relationship. And if you go into a relationship, whether it's a financial relationship, business relationship, personal relationship, spiritual relationship, whatever it is, if you go in under false pretense that you're not going to get what you want out of it, neither party is. So you just don't need to be perfect. Let's just get on here and get on down the road, because again, it's okay to be less than spectacular. You just want to be the best at being yourself. Now, we all want to be spectacular, right? We all want to get up and do great things, but just be the best at being yourself, and let that be enough. All right, well, let's look at number two. And again, we get back to this: know your values. But not only got to know them, but you've got to live by them. Because if you know your values and you live by them consistently, you're already doing well in the authenticity department. So just know what your values are, and then you got to live with them. So, well, how do you do that? Well, first of all, you have to make a list of your values and determine the 5 that are most important to you. So we're going to start into the homework and things that we're going to do tonight. Normally, if I was in the network in our A to B for me community, we might take 30 seconds or a minute or so here to take some time and put some of these in chat. But we're not going to do it in this program, because I want this to be your program, and you get here and you do what you need to do. But make the list of your values and determine the 5 that are most important to you. And then when you get that list out, I want you to look at it and say, are you living your life according to those values? And you really have to take some time with yourself, and find you a quiet spot. Get away from the kids or the dog or the husband or the wife or whatever it is, and get out there and just spend some time with you. And then ask yourself, would it be obvious to others that you hold those values? In other words, when you're out there, are you portraying the person that has these values? So those are 3 key questions that I want you to work on tonight, this afternoon, this week. And again, that'll be in the worksheet as well for you to go through that. But the main thing is, you need to decide and make your decisions based on your values going forward. So you've got your values, and this really is your value tree. And so now your decision making is a lot easier, because you're saying, okay, well, what do I need to do? Well, okay, well, what are my values telling me I need to do? So it's going to make decisions going forward so much easier when you have this mapped out for yourself. But you also have to be willing to share your values with others. So, the people around you, you have to let them know who you are. Now, you don't have to get into, in these days we get into all this Facebook unfriending, defriending, all this political garbage. Man, am I in the blue state or red state, whatever it is. You want to share your values with others. You don't want to get into fist fight with people like they seem to do nowadays on Facebook. But just decide what your values are, and then share them with the folks around you. They're important to you, so that they know who you are. And then that will attract, just by sharing your values, it will attract like people to you. Whether we're on social media or whether it's out just live, people are going to be attracted to you based on who you are, because they have like values. So that's why you want to be sharing those things. Number 3, notice when you're not being authentic. Well, how are you going to notice that if you don't know what authentic is, right? So you go through number 2, and then you want to notice when you're not authentic, because you want to be able to catch this stuff at the pass. And a lot of times folks fail at whatever they can do, whatever their goals are, whether their life goals are, just something that they're doing, is they fail because they did not recognize the roadblocks were coming. They didn't pre-plan for those things, and they didn't know what it looked like, what failure was going to look like. So if you can go out there and say, well, if I do this and this doesn't work, I'm going to be able to shift and go over here. So you have to know where you're going. And in this case, you have to know when you're being authentic, and when you're not, you have to know what it looks like. Because it's not easy to be authentic all the time. It's just not. When you go into a new situation, it doesn't matter. We're going to fall back into this this standard of just saying, oh, well, this is what I've been doing all my life. And so when I come into this, I'm going to be guarded. I'm not going to let people in. So it's just not easy to be authentic all the time. And you might find yourself transforming based on certain situations. And of course, one of the classics is the first date. Are you being authentic or pretending to be someone you're not? Yeah, somebody jokes about people, online dating. I mean, doggone it, the picture doesn't match the person, right? Because you're trying to be this just beefed up something or other, this beautiful, you know, perfect, perfectly makeup, perfect everything, a person. And that's not going to do you any good in a relationship. You might as well just start out being you. I mean, they're going to find out sooner or later. So, and it doesn't matter. I mean, in a job situation or whatever, they're going to find out who you are sooner or later. And maybe you want to get in there and make a few bucks first before they find out. I don't know, but you're going to find yourself transforming back. But be able to notice when you're not doing that, so that at least you will know, and then you can go back and grade those things for yourself. And take notes of those times when your authenticity starts to wane. Because when your authenticity starts to wane, then you're gonna get off base. You're gonna be departing from your core values, and we'll talk here a little bit later. Your core values will be tied to your goals, and if those two don't match, your subconscious and your conscious mind are just going to be all confused. So take note of those times when your authenticity wanes, so that you'll know and be prepared for that. Like I said, it's like preparing your goals. I'm going to get down here. Well, what's going to be a possible roadblock? Well, if you know what the roadblocks are and you're ready to handle those roadblocks and you're ready to take a detour or whatever, whenever you have to, then your subconscious mind is not going to be able to beat you up and say, hey, I told you this is going to happen. I knew this wasn't going to work. I knew you weren't going to make this happen because you fail all the time, right? But if your conscious mind tells your subconscious mind, hey, we knew this was going to happen. And so when we knew it was going to happen, we had this plan and we know what we're going to do. So take notes of that so that you know when these things are going to happen, so you can prepare yourself and be ready to make that change or take the heat for not being authentic whenever it comes up, right? Let's talk about your goals now, because we want to know your goals. And of course, everybody's like, well, I've got goals. I've done this, blah, 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 blah. Well, I always tell people, if you got them down, then what are you doing here? But we all have different ways of looking at things. But a basic goal is just, what do you want out of life? I think that's really where you have to start. What's the end game? What are you looking for? Or do you even know, what you want out of life? And that's not a crazy question, because I tell you what, every 12 weeks I reassess, where I'm going. I'm working on a 12-week year, and then because things change, and so you really have to be flexible. I know we learned that in 2020, right? If you had an annual goal back in 2020, you might have had some problems, isn't it? But if you had shorter goals where you could adjust and roll with the flow, you probably did okay. But let's take it all the way out to what you want out of life. And that's really where you got to start, and then start reeling that thing back in. And are you willing to let others know what you want? And a lot of times we get these goals and things, and we just guard them, and we guard them. Why? Because we don't want anybody to know what we want. Because if we don't do what we're supposed to do to get it, then everybody's going to know. Well, that's where accountability comes in. You want to let other people know that it's going to put a little heat on you, a little pressure on you. But if you let other people know what you want out of life and what your goals are, then you're opening up the universe and opening up for these people to come and help you. If you don't let them know what you want, they can't help you. So it's time to be authentic again and know what you want out of life, get it down, and then let other people's know. And by knowing your goals, you can live your life accordingly. So once you got it all planned out, that's it. It's just a plan. It's a roadmap. So start out with what do you want, and then we'll start reeling it back in. We'll talk about this a lot more in goals and mission. But this is a good place to start. It's just what do you want out of life, and start thinking about that as we start rolling into Wednesday. So here you want to make a list of your short-term and your long-term goals. Now, what is a short-term goal? I get asked that all the time. What's a long-term goal? Well, it depends on you, and a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it just does. For me, my short-term goals are, like I said, are really 12 weeks, and then my longer-term goals are no longer than 3 to 5. Really, I mean, my short-term, I guess some medium goals might be my annual is probably my medium. So I have a 12 week, I have an annual, then I have something 2 to 3 years out where I want to reach. And then I know really ultimately what my bucket list is and what I want out there, but you need to make a list of what do you want short term and what do you want long term in your life. And then how well do those align with your values? We always have to check that. Is getting this and doing this really who I am? Because what happens in life so many times, and you've seen this dozens and dozens of times in the media and all over, is the fact that people think they're going after something that they think they want, and then when they get it, they don't want to be there. And we have such high suicide rates and everything else from people going out not really knowing what they want, and they work and work and work and work and work and work and work, and then they get to somewhere and they're like, damn, I spent all these years and I don't even want to be here. I don't know why I did this. And some of it might be from your raising. Some of it might be from the people that you hang out with. It might even be your closest friend and your soulmate. Maybe you're doing things that they want you to do instead of you doing things you want to do. So it's time to just put a halt on that and clarify that with your significant others and whoever you've got in your life, and say, hey, this is what I want. I need you to understand that. And going forward, we're going to do this because this is what is aligning with my values. So make a list of those goals and then see how those things align with your values this week. And then what are your defining characteristics? And this is going to get kind of interesting for yourself, probably, because one, you got to describe yourself honestly. You've got to ask yourself, if a casual acquaintance would describe me the same way as I'm describing myself. In other words, when I just walk up to somebody, or they can immediately know what my defining characteristics are, or what I think I am. And then how about someone that knows you well? Is someone supposedly, quote unquote, know you well, going to describe you as you describe yourself? Or how about your closest friend? Sometimes your BFF or your bestie, they don't really know who you are because you haven't let that out. So, and a lot of times, that eats you up because you say, I'm just not even honest with my best friend. I'm not honest with my wife. I'm not honest with my husband. But get out there, describe yourself honestly, and then make sure that other people in your life will describe you in that same way, or have it so beaming and so glowing that even when you walk up to a perfect stranger, they're like, wow, I see who this person is. And that's what we're going after this week. And the other question is, how many people know you well? And again, it gets back to your best friends and everything else. And if there aren't that many, you got to ask yourself why. So it's just a good time just for deep reflection. If you don't have a lot of people who know you well, then why? If you're living authentically, it should be easy for someone to develop an accurate opinion of you. So if you're this person one day and this person the next, it's going to be very difficult for people to align with you because they don't know who they're dealing with on a daily basis. So again, look at this introspection for yourself and see what you come up with this section here. And then you got to look at what your negative characteristics are. No, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about my bad stuff. Well, yeah, you got to talk about your bad stuff. Who are you? Are you impatient? Are you messy? Or are you a person who accepts other people? Or are you the kind of person that dismisses people? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you energetic? Are you boring? Who are you? You got to write those things down. What are some of your negative characteristics? And are you willing to allow others to see these characteristics, or do you attempt to hide them? There are times when, I used to think, man, I got to get in here and I got to have my cufflinks on. I got to have my three-piece suit on and everything all set up. And yeah, we're just to sit in front of a camera, right? Well, no, I mean, I don't have to do that. Especially during COVID, right? We go around with a nice shirt on and then have our pajamas on bottoms, right? So, but you got to be willing to let others see these characteristics and don't intend to hide them because they're going to find out anyway. Again, that's being authentic. Now you can take the negative characteristics, you can turn them into positives, and by letting other people see those characteristics, they can help you change those if you want help in those. But if you're not going to allow them to see it, then they can't help you as well. And again, this is another part where we'll talk about accountability this week, is making sure that you're authentic, because that's when other people can help you. So the bottom line here is, you got to tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you're being authentic. Why would you need to lie? People get all balled up again in knots in their stomach and get tongue tied and everything else because they told so many untruths that they can't keep it straight anymore. So just, whether you've done that in the past or whether you haven't, let's just don't go there. If you're going to be authentic, there's just no need to ever lie. And this pertains especially to anything that you say about yourself, because it's going to come up. I mean, you can't have a relationship with anybody if you're always guarding and changing the story. So just be yourself, and you never have to come up with anything. It's just what it is, right? Admit your mistakes, your weaknesses, and your frailties. And this is very, very hard for people to do because well, golly, if they know all this about me, they won't like me anymore. Well, if they know all that about you and they don't like you anymore, then you don't need them in your life in the first place. So just forget them and go find somebody who will accept you as you are. So admit your mistakes, weaknesses, and failures. Don't try to hide them all the time. Now, I'm not saying going out and buy a billboard and put them all out there for the whole world to see and take away your advantage. I mean, if you're in sales or marketing, whatever, you don't want to go. The first thing is that, well, we have this product, but let me tell you, I don't do this, and you don't want to do that. I mean, but in your inner circle, you would admit these things. So just be sure that you're willing to do that, and then share your opinions honestly and freely. And this is very difficult these days. Especially with the political climate and all the mess that's going on there, is people just they're afraid to share their opinion. They're afraid to get their house burnt down or something. But you got to be able to share your opinions honestly and freely with people, and be willing to have those discussions and be able to have friends that disagree with you and that you can learn from those opinions, and they should respect you as well for doing that. So tell the truth, and then it's going to simplify your life. We want to get rid of everything that's extraneous. It's just like this maze thing. We want to cut right across that doggone thing. There's no sense in walking in there and looking for a piece of cheese, hitting the wall, coming back around, going through here, and spending all our life in this maze. Let's just get rid of everything that we don't need. As simple as maybe start with old clothes, old crap in your desk drawer, or whatever it is, or people in your life, or for goodness gracious, don't be doing things you don't want to do. I mean, so many people every day do stuff that they just don't want to do. Now, I'm not talking about if you're in a current job and you're wanting to get a better job, or you want to start a business. I'm not talking about quitting your job. You have to have gratitude for that job, because that job's paying your bills, and it's getting you some money set back so you can do what you really want to do. But just get rid of all the stuff that you just really don't want to do. I mean, if you don't want to go out, stay up late with somebody at night, don't do it. I mean, just get rid of all this extraneous stuff. And what you choose to keep is going to be a representative of your preferences and your true self. So again, be yourself. If at 9 o'clock you want to be cuddled up on the couch with an Afghan and your fuzzy slippers on, then be that person. That's you. That's the person you want to be. So find your true essence by stripping away all this non-essential stuff. And again, you can start with clothes you don't wear, things you never use, or just activities that you don't enjoy. Just start scratching those things out of your life, and that'll get you back to being your authentic self. And only keep the things that mean the most to you. And I know this is difficult. We live in a hoarding society sometimes, where you want everything, but you want to just really try and keep the things that mean the most to you. And what you'll find out in your daily planning as we get through the week and talk about the next level, next step, is that's how you're going to keep your week going. That's how you're going to keep your day going, is by only having your most valuable projects in there and having things scheduled out and only keeping the things that mean the most to you in your daily and weekly life. Number 8, which is our last point here, is do what you say you'll do. This is a huge part of authenticity. Keep your word and follow through on your promises. And in Compound Effect, we talk about a lot. Darren Hardy's talks about agreements, keeping your agreements, and you have to close out the old ones, or they're just going to hang around and they're just going to keep messing with you. So if you've got some promises or you've got some agreements out there that you haven't followed through on and haven't closed out, you need to close them out one way or the other. Just go tell someone, hey, I'm not going to do this. You know, it's been bugging me. I know you've been expecting me to do it, but I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. And just go and do something else, right? But keep your word and follow through on your promises. If you're not able to keep it, let the people know and just get it off of their plate and off of your plate, because you're going to feel more congruent, and others are going to view you as more congruent. In other words, when they'll know when they can depend on you for certain things. And if you're out there and you've promised something that you know you can't do, then they may think that you're not worth for anything they need your help with. So you want to be sure that if you can't do it, let them know why you can't do that particular thing, and maybe give them an alternative. I can't do that for you, but I can do this, and that will keep you in the ballgame. But when your words and actions match, that's when you're demonstrating authenticity. So don't ever get yourself out there in between a rock and a hard place on these things. Just do what you say you'll do, but don't try and do anything that you know you're not going to do, because it's just going to cause issues later down the road. So here's the summary of today: is you just have to set yourself free, because life becomes easier when you are living authentically. This authenticity and authentically, all these things, man, they just kind of get me all balled up here. But bottom line is, you'll no longer feel the exhaustion that comes with constantly changing your opinions, your attitudes, and personality to please others, because there's just no way to be. You're not going to feel the need to protect yourself from others. Then you got to be authentic with your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And as we go through, this week and get into some more deep stuff, it is your thoughts and your words that are just so important, because you can't really act until you get your thoughts and your words together. Because in A to B for me strategy, our first level are thoughts. And again, thoughts and words are best buds. And so you got to have your thoughts and your words right. And then you have to have, that's going to develop emotions. And those emotions are what are going to keep your actions going. You just can't hop into action until you've got your thoughts, your words, and your emotions really need to be. Because the first time you hit a roadblock in the actions, it's going to knock you out. And you're just going to stop, and you're going to quit, and it's going to be over with. So we need to spend a lot of time this week on your thoughts, your words, before we hop into action. But invest the time in yourself, and that's going to help you learn to be free. If you know who you are, you know what you want, you get all set up there, then there's no reason to deviate, because you know what you got, you know what you want. Now, as time goes on, there may be situations come up in your life, and you say, well, I wanted to do that, but now I may have to divert just a little bit because I've got this situation to take care of. So again, but you can get back on track, because you don't want to steer off too far. But invest the time yourself so you know what that is right now. So that's really it for today's session. But tomorrow we're going to talk about finding your passion, which is another huge section, again, to get rolling. But hopefully you got enough today. I want you to say, get up in the Facebook group if you haven't joined it, and get up there and get the worksheet. Go through the video one more time, and then if you want forever access, you got the other link that you can use. But you're going to get a PDF again for every section this week. And at the end of the week, we're going to have, again, a special ebook for you called New Year, New You. And a lot of people say, well, New Year, New You, I don't understand that. Well, it's not Happy New. Well, yeah, your year starts now, right? It doesn't matter if it's January, February, March, April, May, June. Whenever you decide now is the time, that's when your year starts. So we're going to assume that this is your Happy New Year, March 1, and we're going to go through this week, and then you're going to have New Year, New You, and you can get this thing rolling for yourself and start out and get going. But But that's it for today. Again, I hope you got something out of it. Come back and see us tomorrow. We didn't go too long. I think we went about 30 minutes today, so that's about probably what we'll go through tomorrow. But until then, keep moving in the direction of your dreams. If you have any questions, reach out to me in the Facebook group, or you can type in chat right now if you got anything, and I can answer some things right now for you. But if I don't see anybody typing in, so I think we're probably done for the day. But we'll have the video up in the Facebook group this afternoon, so go in and check it out, and then we'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a great one.